Today we are pre-installing a new transmission in Pipe Dreams. So this one's coming out and there's a new one going in. So here's the beginning of the adventure of taking out the transmission. Right now, Alan has a bowl down there and he is draining some of the fluid to make it a little lighter. At this point, we have already detached the transmission for the most part from the bus. This is the point where I am trying to get the plug out of the side of the transmission, but it's just not working. So he went and got me the big wrench, also known as the impact. And right here is where we're getting ready to drain the rest of the fluid out of the transmission and removing everything around the jack. Oh, spilled a little. That's nothing some kitty litter can't fix. So now we're getting everything away from and around the jack, including myself, so we can lower down. And here comes the fun part, where we have to get it off of that jack and out from underneath the bus, because there's not enough room to just move the board and the transmission on the jack. And right here is where we realized that we didn't even have enough room to get the transmission off of the jack. So here in a few minutes, you'll see us strap this transmission up with some ratchet straps to hold it up while we take the jack out from underneath of it. and I go and get a heavy-duty floor jack to do the job. Here's where we start to use a little bit of redneck ingenuity and use the floor jack to drop this out of here, literally. Well, good thing it was the one with the broken housing, so we weren't too worried about it at that point in time. Now, get it all the way down on this board and out from underneath.
Get up. It takes long.
So this was just supposed to be a routine maintenance stop. It was just supposed to be a grease down and an oil change. Lo and behold, to find out that this is what our noise was. The flex plate. And then we get the transmission pulled off and found out that, the housing was busted. Is the new transmission.
I want that transmission to be close to being directly right here.
Alright. So, using my husband's hardcore redneck ingenuity, we attached a come-along into a tree branch to help us get the newly used transmission out of the back of the truck and onto a pallet. this transmission was still full of transmission fluid, so we had to pause and take a break to empty her out. So what do you do when you don't have the proper quote-unquote tools? You use your own, right? Watch how we get this transmission over to the bus. So now that we got the transmission drug over by the school bus and the other transmission, this is when we start swapping out assembly parts and electronic equipment. So what you see here is Alan is using a tap and die set on the newly used transmission. A couple of the bolt holes for the torque converter were a little wonky, so he went back in there and rethreaded them. Now that he got the torque converter bolt holes all rethreaded, we are now going to push this sucker under the bus. not today. We'll be back tomorrow to get it all installed. Today, we're working on pipe dreams once again. I gotta get down here and clean up all the surfaces on the new transmission and where it mounts to the body. So you're gonna come do that with me. Alan just got back with the new flex plate. So here's where we use some more of that redneck ingenuity. I went into the garage and got a floor jack to help us raise this transmission up so we could get the transmission jack underneath of it to get it fully mounted to the bus. Once we get the transmission jack underneath of it, we got to make sure that everything is fully flushed before we start bolting it all together. As you'll see, this takes a lot of time and maneuvering, so I have to give props to mechanics and transmission workers. At this point, the transmission was as flush as we could possibly get it, and now Alan is going around and putting all the bolts in the holes and getting it all started. Now he's reaching up in there and he's hooking together all the electrical and mechanical components that he can at this point in time. There's still a few other odd pieces and ends that we need to pull off of the other transmission to put onto this transmission. But what's the point of doing that if you're already crawling underneath? Might as well do what you can, right? So this is where he had me start taking off the other things like the dipsticks tube and other stuff that I don't know the name of. So that way, while he was getting the rest of the other transmission mounted, I was getting this ready for him to put it on. Now that the transmission has been bolted up to the bus, Alan has to reach in there and put in all the torque converter bolts. Each time he gets a bolt inserted in there, he has to take a screwdriver up in there to spin the flywheel around to make it to the next bolt hole. It's a real big pain in the butt. Now that we got all that done, we're now reinstalling the starter. Let me remind you, that is one heavy son of a gun.
President.
Mickey, yes, he's gonna. Wait, is it real Mickey Mouse?
Come on, BJ. Come on. I prefer to be.
Oh.
Hi, buddy. Fuck, dude. BJ, come here.
Puppy attack!
He came over and laid right on my face and
Yeah, he
started
did.
licking me.
He just wants some love.
Hi, big boy.
Come on, BJ, leave him up. Come on.
You're the most adorable little dog. Dude. Hi. I'm not trying to, Dad, but I'm not sure what the hell you want me to
He
do.
won't leave his face alone. No!
BJ, come. Hey, come here, buddy. Come here.
There we go.
Yeah. Stay away from Goofy.
Thank you for the love, man. I needed that today.
It was so cute.
I needed the love. Thank you for the puppy love.
Just sat on his
You did.
face.
You got that on video too, didn't
yeah.
you?
Now time to attach the ground strap. We almost got it. Time to put in all new filters. Don't forget about the 4 gallons of transmission fluid you're gonna need to fill it all back up. Something that was plugged in wrong and the mile per hour went all the way up. So we're trying to figure out why it's not hooked up right. So we figured out what our problem was. One was plugged in backwards and there are 2 ground cables that we forgot to hook back up. So let's go hook them up. So that was all the clips that I got for putting in the newly used transmission. We ended up taking the bus for a test drive and we just knew something wasn't right. We drove it around for a while and come to find out that the shift points were not correct and there was no way for us to fix it. So we worked our butts off. We drove around with that transmission in it, and when I was done with the sugar beet harvest, we had enough money to put in a brand new transmission that had custom shift points in it. So in the middle of 7 degrees Ohio, in nothing but coveralls and hoodies, because we don't really own much for the winter anymore, we installed this new transmission. So this is the little bit of the short clips that I got of us installing it. Not much, because it was cold, and we would work for about 45 minutes to an hour and go inside and warm up, and taking videos was just way too much. But here it is. Hey y'all. It has been months since our last transmission video. Look at this shit. But there she is. The one we've been waiting on. We've just been boogieing around with a backup out of a Cummins, but didn't have the same shift points. So we got that spare out, and here's the new shiny one. And we're putting it in when it's snowing. Wish us luck. Well guys, I think we officially got the new one in. 100 pain in the asses later. Here she is. And a couple frozen balls and fingers. Now we are going to add some fluid to it, and we're going to start it. Hang tight. So I didn't want you guys to miss out on anything, so this is just a really sped up video of me picking up the tools and Alan adding the transmission fluid to the bus, so that way we can give her the first start with the brand new transmission. Well, it is the moment we've been waiting for. We are. Check our fluids. It's the first time it's been started since yesterday when we got everything put back together. More? To let her warm up, and then we are going to take her for a test run. See you soon. She runs! She drives! You ready? Now we have officially made it to our spot in Florida, and we're hoping to do some more work on pipe dreams. So Stay tuned.